The price action of Cardano's ADA has been phenomenal recently. On the back of the Vasil hard fork news, we have seen a pretty good surge with Cardano ADA to the upside. The question is this sustainable? Should we be thinking about some kind of sell the news event and all of that kind of good stuff in the kind of short-term horizon? So let's actually dive down into this data and take a look at what's been going on with Cardano. At the bottom area here, we have a little yellow rectangle. This is actually our lower expectations and where we actually saw this significant start to this run to the upside. This actually comes in at the low side of 41.28 and the slightly higher range of about 42.63. These were the low expectations that we had. Then, of course, moving a little bit north of here, we have our support and resistance lines. These were the areas that we were really struggling to work our way through, and basically these come in on the lower side at 46.19 cents, and on the higher side it was 47.45 cents. These are the areas that I think if we're going to pull back to are going to be a key support level for us, so it's well worth knowing what they are. Obviously the top yellow boxes are higher expectations, basically looking for this swing to take us from that low rectangle to the higher rectangle. On the lower side of this we have our expectations at 49.56 all the way through to a higher expectation of 56.97. Okay, that basically marks this entire rectangle area. Now, we are looking at this as an interesting structure in itself. Following on from Elliott wave theory, on the left-hand side here, we do have our 5-wave structure moving us down. Now, we were looking at maybe having this as our 5th wave down lower. That's also possible. However, a move upwards is also strange in itself. There's a couple of different ways we can kind of count this. The one that you see down here on the left-hand side finishes our 5th wave down at this low point, and I'll just mark it up with a horizontal line for you, at 43.47 cents. This basically is the origin point for our next corrective structure. We actually had 3 waves going up, which I'll go ahead and mark up for you. We can see wave A, wave B, and wave C just here. And then, of course, we follow this down with another 3-wave structure. We actually drop in 5 waves, move up, and then drop back down in 5 waves. Although this is a zigzag pattern, it's a very unusual one as we did not meet the 1-to-1 ratio, but it is a 3-wave structure nonetheless. So here we have a 3-3 structure. Then, of course, we're tracking something pretty interesting to the upside. This is actually a 5-wave structure where we actually have gone higher than the 1.618 Fibonacci level, triggering it into an impulsive structure. Let me go ahead and grab my 5 waves and I'll show you what this looks like. We go wave 1 up, wave 2 down, and then we're going for wave 3 up, wave 4 down, and we're still looking for that final 5th wave a little bit higher. All in all, this actually looks like a corrective structure known as a 3-3-5, or in the case of Cardano here, an expanding flat correction. The expanding flat correction has many different names, a megaphone pattern, for example, and a whole host of additional others. But I'll focus on this as a 3-3-5, with our 5th wave just looking a little bit higher inside our accumulation zone, or specifically our shorting zone for our wave 2, because I see this as a much bigger drop overall. Okay, so let's go ahead and just focus in a little bit on our final 5th wave at the upside here. Okay, so basically here we can see that we have a really good, strong move to the downside. This was also triggering past the 1.618, but reversed up and crossed back past the wave 1 low point, basically meaning that this is nothing more than just a 3-wave structure where we can see 3 waves coming on down here. We are then moving up, and again we have a lot of overlapping structures within this recent move. So the first thing that's probably worth noting is what are our expectations by the time this 5th wave finishes? Well, there's 2 key areas for us. If I just bring this fib in, just pull this down over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and just draw a rectangle just on what our common expectations would be. Okay, now these are areas that are the most common for a wave 5. They are no hard and fast rule and do not say categorically that the price has to move there, but just what our expectations would be, as this is the most typical area that a wave 5 would go to. This is basically between the 1.236 and the 1.618 on the fib charts, or if you want to look in dollar value, the 51.67 through to about 52.77 cents. This here is going to be our expectations. However, the structure that is forming within this 5th wave is unusual. If anything, we're probably going to end up with an ending diagonal structure more than an impulsive 5-wave structure. This is noted from our way that we actually moved down really significantly last night, or actually more specifically 3 a.m. this morning. Then obviously we rallied back up and we have pulled back to the downside. We're seeing a lot of volatility within the price action of Cardano. We are right up in the higher range, so it's understandable that you're going to see this moment of volatility where profits are going to get taken off the table, and we're going to start to see some kind of reversal. Essentially, the wave 5 is usually the falls kind of wave. This is pretty much just driven from retail money. No big kind of wealthy hedge funds or family funds or institutional players are, actually getting that involved in a wave 5 structure. If anything, this is all just driven from FOMO at this point. So we want to be aware that there's going to be extreme volatility here, which is usually why the wave 5 itself only lands somewhere between 1.236 and 1.618 times that of wave 4, and from there really you then start to break on down. So if it is an ending diagonal, it'll still be 5-wave structure, but it will be consisting of 3 waves. So here we'd have 1 here, we'd have 2 here, we'd have 3 here, for example, we'd have 4, and then we'd have finally 5. And it would end in a kind of diagonal kind of shape and basically be really lackluster. Essentially, wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave. So with wave 1 being typically the longest, in that scenario, wave 5 would be shorter. And if it is to be an ending diagonal, then we would fail to meet our higher expectations of the 1.236 at 51.67 cents. So all eyes are on Cardano on that ground. Let's actually now take a look at the stochastic RSI and the momentum behind the price action here for Cardano. Is there any reason to be bullish, or should we be a little bit more conservative right now? As we come into our hourly chart here from a stochastic RSI point of view, we can see that we are oversold. This basically means that on the way down here, we actually saw a significant amount of momentum leave the space, meaning that we actually were able to hold the price at a decent level, and we could now start to see some upward momentum. So that's definitely supporting price action for an upward move. On the 4-hourly chart, again, we started to move up a little bit here, but we definitely need to see a little bit more in terms of momentum to the upside here for the 4-hourly chart. We can, of course, see this moving up a bit. So again, we're still looking for a final 5th wave, so there's nothing too ordinary about this. It looks pretty standard and looks okay for a bit of a move to the upside. On the 8-hour stochastic RSI, we are, of course, seeing exhaustion, and we are running out of momentum. We're hovering around the overbought area, although not overbought at this particular moment in time. On the next move up, we'll be back up in the overbought area, where probably we'll see the 4-hour marrying up with our 8-hour chart and basically looking for downward price pressure. As we come on over into our daily chart, we have a very clear picture as to what is going on. We basically are in an overbought area, and we shouldn't get too carried away. We can definitely see the structure to the downside here forming out quite nicely. Let me just draw this on if you cannot see it, but this is all a wave 1. This is a 5-wave structure drop. We're looking for our 335 correction taking us up higher into our wave 2, and then we're going to be looking for a wave 3, 4, and 5 taking us down significantly lower. Our accumulation zones are still down there, and they haven't changed, between 28 and 34 cents, with the possibility of going to 22, and if that doesn't hold, then 15 cents. So on the daily chart, we can definitely see a more bearish outlook. And as we come up into the weekly, it is no better. We are really high on our stochastic RSI. So our daily and our weekly are telling us that we should be preparing ourselves for some downward price pressure. With that being said, with our 1-hour and our 4-hour looking pretty good, I think we still have a little bit more momentum to the upside to take advantage of before we want to kind of come out of our positions. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you what to do in terms of your finances, and so you should probably go ahead and actually talk to your own financial advisor if you have one. Nothing I say or do in these videos should be considered financial advice, and I do recommend that you do your own research and come to your own financial conclusions. Guys, I'm going to leave this video right there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗀𝗀. Guys, until the next one, have a fantastic day.